In this video, we're going to take a look at the scale transform command. Now, like many of the commands found underneath edit, transform, scaling can be handled by just doing a basic free transform, which is what I do more often than not. But we are going to break each one of these down. So let's just go down to transform and choose scale. Now what you get is a series of transform handles that appear all around your layer or selection. You also get a reference point in the center. The purpose of scale is just to drag these handles and thereby resize your layer or selection when you're finished. Press enter to commit. You can also press escape if you don't want to keep that transformation. Now those are the bare bones of it, but there are some things you need to know about handling scaling. Of course, some of the more obvious ones are if you drag on the corner handles, that you're scaling width and height at the same time. Of course, if you just drag on the sides, you're only handling either width or height based on which edge you are grabbing. Now, because we activated scale and we're not using free transform, we cannot rotate this object. At the same time, if we click and drag not on any one of the handles, just kind of out here in space, we can move this object. So even though you're scaling, you still are able to relocate by moving this particular selection or layer all around your screen. Now, earlier I mentioned you do have a reference point. That's important because if you hold down the Alt key while you're scaling from the corners or from the sides, you are scaling toward and away from that reference point, which is why it looks like we're getting the same thing on both sides of our object. If I was to move my reference point out here into space and hold down Alt and drag, notice how we're scaling toward and away from that reference point. You can reset the reference point at any time by clicking on this little grid of squares up here inside your options bar. So if I click on the centermost square, it sets it right back to the middle. So if you need to put that back for any reason, that's how you do that. You can also hold down the Shift key, and as you scale, you will be maintaining the aspect ratio of your shape, which is extremely handy. Just keep in mind this does not work when you're dragging on the handles at the sides. By their very nature, those are there to destroy your aspect ratio. So it's really only when you're working at the corners. Now you can combine the Alt key and the Shift key at the same time, so you can scale toward that reference point while maintaining your aspect ratio. But really, in the end, that's it. That's all there is to scaling. You'll notice that we don't have access to rotation or anything like that. It's an extremely straightforward tool, and as I mentioned earlier, it is one of the features available within Free Transform, but you can handle it separately if you don't want to accidentally bump anything else, such as rotating or distorting or anything like that. However, that will wrap things up for this video. Thank you very much for watching.